Historically, the corn trade has played a significant role in the agricultural trade relationship between the US and China. The US, being the world's largest corn producer, has provided a steady supply to China, which has a burgeoning demand due to its massive population and expanding livestock sector. For decades, this arrangement has been mutually beneficial, aiding the US's agricultural sector while supporting China's food security goals. The relationship, however, has not been without its fair share of tensions. Trade disputes, tariffs, and policy changes have periodically strained this trade link, prompting significant fluctuations in the export and import volumes. Moreover, China's efforts to become self-sufficient in corn production have influenced the dynamics of this relationship, as has its tendency to diversify its import sources. Despite these ups and downs, the US has generally remained one of China's top corn suppliers. This long-standing relationship has contributed significantly to shaping the global corn market. It's important to note that China's recent decision to switch from US corn to South African corn represents a significant deviation from this historical trend. This move, seemingly abrupt, has the potential to reshape not only the US-China corn trade relationship, but also the global corn market dynamics. South Africa, a significant but traditionally smaller player in the global corn market compared to the US, has found itself at the center of this significant trade shift. The reasons for China's switch are multifaceted and complex, involving geopolitics, economics, and perhaps even strategic considerations. This unexpected pivot has left the US corn industry grappling with the potential loss of one of its largest export markets, while South Africa is adjusting to its newfound status as a major corn supplier to China. The move could have far-reaching implications for all parties involved and the global corn market at large. In this current situation, the intricacies of international trade and diplomacy are brought to the fore, highlighting how geopolitical decisions can ripple through economies and industries, with impacts that could potentially be felt worldwide. Unraveling the reasons behind China's decision to abandon US corn in favor of South African corn involves delving into a complex mix of geopolitical, economics, and strategic maneuvering. While the full reasoning may not be completely transparent, several plausible triggers may be speculated. One likely catalyst is the ongoing geopolitical tension between the US and China. The country's long history of trade disputes, agriculture often becomes a pawn in broader political games. Trade tariffs and policy changes have created uncertainty and friction in the past, possibly leading China to seek more stable sources of corn. Economic considerations also play a crucial role. Market prices, fluctuations in currency exchange rates, and the cost of shipping can significantly influence the choice of trade partners. South Africa's proximity to China compared to the US might offer cost benefits, and if South Africa offered competitive pricing for their corn, this could have swayed China's decision. Lastly, China's move could be a strategic attempt to diversify its import sources, reducing its reliance on any single country. By doing so, China enhances its bargaining power and reduces vulnerability to political disputes or supply disruptions. As we navigate these potential triggers, it becomes clear that the shift in China's corn source is far more complex than a mere transactional decision. China's move to stop importing corn from the US in favor of South Africa has numerous political implications, affecting bilateral relations and potentially the broader geopolitical landscape. The shift is indicative of the escalating tensions between the US and China, adding another layer of complexity to their already fraught relationship. By choosing to import from South Africa instead, China is making a clear political statement about its capacity to pivot away from traditional trade partnerships. The decision also alters China's diplomatic relations with South Africa. This shift may serve to strengthen China's ties with African nations, presenting an opportunity for China to expand its sphere of influence within the continent. For South Africa, the new trade relationship can bring them closer to one of the world's most powerful economies, a potential geopolitical advantage. Globally, the move may prompt other nations to reassess their agricultural trade strategies, especially countries heavily reliant on China for their agricultural exports. China's decision exemplifies the intertwining of geopolitics and trade, demonstrating how changes in international relations can significantly impact global markets. In sum, the geopolitical impact of China's shift in corn imports goes beyond the economies of US, China, and South Africa. It carries ripple effects that could alter the political dynamics of global agricultural trade. China's move can potentially lead to a significant decrease in demand, putting downward pressure on US corn prices and negatively impact the income of American farmers. Furthermore, the US corn industry, which is already grappling with various challenges such as unpredictable weather patterns and fluctuating commodity prices, now faces an additional hurdle, finding alternative markets to make up the lost Chinese demand. This could lead to increased competition in other markets, further depressing prices and profits. Beyond the farmers, the effects could also ripple through the related industries, including logistic companies, processors, and suppliers of farm equipment and inputs. The resulting impact on rural economies could be substantial. Moreover, uncertainty surrounding the future of the US-China trade relationship could discourage investment in the US corn industry. Overall, the short and long-term economic consequences of China's decisions could be far-reaching, affecting the viability and sustainability of the U.S. corn industry and, by extension, the wider agricultural sector and the economies of rural communities. The abrupt shift in China's corn import strategy has significant implications for American farmers, whose livelihoods are often closely tied to the global agricultural trade landscape. China's move away from U.S. corn towards South African corn represents a loss of one of its more substantial export markets for American farmers, with potential dire consequences for their financial stability and food security. In the immediate term, farmers may face declining corn prices due to oversupply in the domestic market. Reducing profits could lead to financial stress, especially for small to medium-sized farms that have less capacity to absorb financial shocks. This could ultimately lead to increased farm bankruptcies, impacting rural communities and economies. Longer term, the shift could prompt structural changes within the U.S. agricultural sector. Farmers may need to consider diversifying their crops or finding new export markets, which could prove challenging and time-consuming. The loss of such a large export market also raises concerns about food security. While the U.S. is not at risk of food shortages due to the change, the potential financial instability for farmers could have indirect effects on domestic food security, especially if it leads to fewer farms and reduced agricultural production. The implications of China's trade shift thus extend far beyond immediate economic impacts, touching upon the very sustainability of American farming communities and their capacity to contribute to national food security. The economic shockwave from China's decision to pivot from the U.S. to South Africa for its corn imports extends beyond the agricultural sector, triggering a domino effect across several related industries in the U.S. Firstly, the logistics and transportation industry, which plays a crucial role in getting corn from American farms to global markets, stands to be significantly affected. A substantial reduction in corn exports means fewer shipments, which could lead to job losses and reduced income in the sector. Next, the agricultural input sector, including providers of seeds, fertilizers, and farm equipment, could also feel the pinch. As farmers grapple with reduced income from lower corn prices, they might cut back on purchasing new equipment or inputs, leading to lower sales for these industries. Moreover, the biofuel industry, particularly ethanol production, which relies heavily on corn, might face changes. If farmers reduce corn production due to lower demand, this could potentially impact the availability of pricing of corn for biofuel production. Finally, rural banks and financial institutions, which provide loans and financial services to farmers, could experience higher default rates if farmers struggle to repay debts due to declining profits. In essence, China's decision has set off a chain of events, illustrating how changes in global trade dynamics can reverberate across various industries, affecting not just the primary sectors involved, but a broader economic ecosystem. South Africa's role in the new corn trade dynamics is pivotal. Previously a smaller player in the global corn market, the country is now catapulted into prominence as China's preferred supplier. This shift carries both opportunities and challenges for South Africa. On the positive side, the surge in demand for South African corn has the potential to stimulate its agricultural sector, leading to increased income for farmers and growth in related industries. The strengthened trade ties with China could also open doors for other South African agricultural exports, diversifying the country's export base. However, the increased demand could also put pressure on South African corn production capacity. Ensuring a steady, sustainable supply may necessitate increased investment in agricultural technology, infrastructure, and environmental conservation. Handling the demands of such a large customer like China could present logistical and operational challenges. Moreover, becoming so heavily reliant on a single export market can be risky. Any changes in China's corn demand could have significant impacts on South Africa's economy. In the broader global context, South Africa's rise as a significant corn exporter could influence global corn prices and market dynamics. It underscores the interconnectedness of global agricultural trade and the potential for dramatic shifts in the face of changing geopolitical and economic landscapes. In light of China's recent decision to shift its corn import from the U.S. to South Africa, several potential scenarios could unfold for the U.S. corn market. In the short term, a significant reduction in demand from one of the largest importers of U.S. corn could lead to a surplus of corn in the domestic market, potentially causing a drop in prices. This could impact the profitability of American farmers, forcing some to consider diversifying crops or seeking new export markets. If China's shift proves to be long-term, structural changes within the U.S. agricultural sector may be inevitable. The U.S. may need to reorient its trade strategy, strengthening ties with existing trade partners or forging new relationships to compensate for the loss of the Chinese market. On a positive note, there may be opportunities for the U.S. to utilize excess corn domestically, possibly within the biofuel industry. Alternatively, it could trigger innovation in value-added corn products for export. Predicting the future course of the U.S. corn market is challenging due to the complexity of global trade dynamics and the potential for policy interventions. Nevertheless, these projections highlight the importance of strategic planning and adaptability in navigating the shifting landscape of international agricultural trade. The recent shift in China's corn import strategy has undoubtedly presented a challenge for the U.S. corn industry. However, it also creates an opportunity to reassess and rebuild its market strategy. Here are some potential solutions to reestablish the U.S. corn market with China. Diplomatic channels. Engaging in diplomatic negotiations with China could ease tensions and potentially lead to a resolution. Building a mutual trust and understanding should be the cornerstone of these negotiations. Trade agreements. The U.S. could work towards comprehensive trade agreements that ensure more predictability and stability in the corn trade, potentially even involving third parties to mediate and monitor these agreements. Market diversification. Reducing reliance on a single large export market could be beneficial. The U.S. might explore strengthening ties with existing partners or forging new relationships with emerging markets. Value addition. The U.S. could look into creating and exporting value-added corn products. This could open up new avenues of trade and potentially provide higher returns. Domestic usage. The U.S. could explore increasing domestic use of corn, for instance, in the biofuel industry or in other innovative applications. Global cooperation. The U.S. could advocate for global norms and rules in agricultural trade to avoid abrupt market shifts. Remember, while these solutions show promise, they require careful consideration of potential implications and a balanced approach that caters to both domestic needs and global market realities. In conclusion, the recent shift in China's corn import strategy, moving away from U.S. to South Africa, is a vivid illustration of the complex and ever-changing landscape of international trade relations. This decision has set in motion a series of impacts affecting multiple countries and sectors, showcasing the interconnectedness of the global economy. For the U.S., the shift presents significant challenges, threatening the livelihood of American farmers and impacting related industries. Nevertheless, it also presents an opportunity for introspection and redirection, a chance to innovate, diversify, and build reliance within the U.S. agricultural sector. The potential strategies outlined earlier, for diplomatic negotiations to domestic market utilization, serve as potential paths forward. As for South Africa, the new role as a significant corn supplier to China provides an unprecedented opportunity for economic growth, albeit with its own set of challenges, including meeting increased demand and managing a heavy reliance on a single export market. In a broader sense, the situation underscores the intricate link between geopolitics and trade, and the critical importance of fostering stable, mutually beneficial international trade relationships. The future will inevitably bring more changes and challenges, and how nations navigate these will shape the future of global agricultural trade and beyond.